Most men will go their entire lives without understanding this, and because of that, they keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. They believe attraction is about looks, money, status, fancy clothes, perfect lines, but then they see something that completely destroys that theory. They watch an average looking man walk into a room and somehow become the center of attention. Women notice him, people respect him, the energy around him changes, and the strange part, he is not trying. Meanwhile, another man with more money, better looks, and a more impressive lifestyle gets ignored. Why? Because attraction was never only about appearance, it is about energy, and most men have completely misunderstood what women are naturally responding to. This video is not about manipulation, it is not about fake alpha male behavior, and it is definitely not about pretending to be someone you are not. This is about understanding the psychological signals that quietly shape attraction beneath the surface. The signals most men never notice. Because once you understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop overperforming, you stop needing validation, and for the first time, you become the man people naturally feel drawn toward. So pay close attention because the next 20 minutes may completely change the way you see attraction forever. Section 1. Stop trying to impress women. One of the biggest mistakes men make is trying too hard to sound impressive, trying too hard to look successful, trying too hard to prove value, and ironically, that desperation quietly destroys attraction. Most men think attraction works like a job interview: show your achievements, show your money, show your intelligence, show your lifestyle. But human psychology does not work that way because underneath excessive effort, people sense something deeper: need, and neediness changes your entire energy. When a man constantly tries to impress a woman, he unknowingly communicates one hidden message: please approve of me. That is why overperforming feels uncomfortable. Women can sense when a man is trying to win validation instead of simply existing confidently within himself. You see it all the time: the man who talks non stop about his business, the man who keeps flexing his lifestyle, the man trying too hard to be funny, the man constantly checking if she is impressed. At first, it may seem attractive, but over time, it feels forced, heavy, insecure. Now compare that to the man who enters a conversation relaxed. He listens, he smiles naturally, he speaks without rushing, he does not feel pressure to prove anything. That energy feels different because confidence is not loud. Real confidence is calm. The most attractive men are rarely the ones performing the hardest. They are the men who are comfortable enough to stop performing completely, and that changes everything. Imagine two men at a private gathering. The first spends the entire night talking about himself, his income, his travels, his achievements. He desperately wants people to see him as high value. The second man barely tries. He asks thoughtful questions, he laughs naturally, he remains emotionally relaxed, and slowly, everyone gravitates toward him, not because he demanded attention, but because secure energy is magnetic. That is the lesson most men miss. You do not become attractive by forcing people to notice you. You become attractive when your presence feels emotionally grounded. When you stop trying to impress, you finally stop looking insecure. Section 2. Attention is not attraction. This is where many men become dangerously confused. A woman texting you does not automatically mean attraction. A woman laughing at your jokes does not automatically mean attraction. A woman enjoying your attention does not automatically mean attraction. Most men never learn this, and because of that, they mistake access for desire. Attention feels good for everyone. People enjoy being noticed. They enjoy compliments. They enjoy emotional attention. Women are no different. But attraction and attention are not the same thing. And the moment a man becomes emotionally dependent on constant communication, he begins weakening his position. You see this everywhere: the non stop texting, the constant checking in, the immediate replies, the endless availability. At first, it may seem caring, but psychologically, it removes tension. It removes removes curiosity, it removes mystery, and mystery is important because attraction grows in emotional space, not emotional suffocation. The more a man centers his life around a woman he barely knows, the more he unconsciously signals scarcity, as if she has suddenly become the center of his emotional world. That energy creates pressure, and pressure quietly kills attraction. Now compare that to a man who genuinely enjoys talking to her, but still has his own mission, his own goals, his own routines, his own purpose. He is present when they interact, but he is not emotionally consumed. That balance creates emotional tension, and tension creates intrigue. The difference is simple. One man is chasing attention, the other is allowing attraction to develop naturally. Section 3. Women notice calm confidence. Most men misunderstand confidence. They think confidence means dominance, volume, aggression, control. But real confidence is usually quiet, and that quiet confidence is incredibly powerful because calm men feel safe. Not safe in a weak way, safe in a grounded way, emotionally stable, centered, unshaken. A man with calm confidence does not panic during silence. He does not rush to fill every moment. He does not over explain himself. He does not desperately seek approval. He simply exists comfortably within himself. That energy stands out immediately, especially today, because modern society is filled with anxious energy. People are constantly performing, trying, seeking validation. So when someone remains emotionally calm under pressure, people notice. Women especially notice because emotional steadiness communicates strength, not fake strength, real strength. Watch what happens during uncomfortable moments. That is where true confidence reveals itself. If a joke fails, does he panic? If a woman disagrees with him, does he become defensive? If silence appears, does he rush to fill it? Most men do, because internally they are afraid of losing approval. But calm confidence behaves differently. A grounded man stays relaxed. He does not emotionally collapse because one interaction did not go perfectly. And that emotional control changes how people experience him. Because confidence is not about controlling the room, it is about controlling yourself. Hashtags 4. Neediness destroys attraction. This is the truth many men avoid hearing. Neediness quietly ruins attraction, and most men do not even realize when they are doing it because neediness rarely looks obvious. Sometimes it looks like overtexting, sometimes it looks like over explaining, sometimes it looks like constantly apologizing, sometimes it looks like emotional dependence disguised as affection. But underneath all of it, there is one thing: fear of losing approval. That fear changes your energy. When your mood depends on whether someone texts back, you become emotionally reactive. When a delayed reply ruins your confidence, you lose emotional control, and people feel that instability. This is why emotionally dependent behavior feels unattractive, because attraction requires emotional strength, not emotional hunger. Many men build their entire identity around female validation. If she gives attention, they feel confident. If she pulls away, they feel worthless. That is not attraction, that is dependency, and dependency weakens masculine presence. A man with strong energy enjoys women, but he does not emotionally collapse without them. His confidence comes from his mission, his standards, his discipline, his direction. That is why purpose matters so much, because purpose protects men from becoming emotionally desperate. A busy man with goals does not obsess over every text message. His life already has momentum, and momentum is attractive. That is the shift most men need. Stop building your emotional stability around attention. Build a life so meaningful that validation becomes unnecessary. That energy changes everything. Section 5. Purpose is more attractive than looks. Most men spend years obsessing over appearance, height, muscles, clothes, jawlines, and yes, appearance matters initially, but appearance alone rarely sustains attraction. Purpose does, because purpose changes a man's entire energy. A man with purpose moves differently. He wakes up focused, he has direction, he has standards, he has something bigger than temporary validation, and people can feel that immediately. You can hear it in his voice, see it in his discipline, notice it in his behavior. He does not chase attention because his life already has movement. That movement creates momentum, and momentum creates attraction. Now compare that to a man without purpose. He overthinks everything. He constantly compares himself to others. He becomes consumed by whether people approve of him. Without direction, attention becomes his identity, and that is dangerous because when a man has no mission, he often becomes emotionally dependent on relationships for meaning. But women are naturally drawn toward men who are building something, not because of money, because ambition signals life force, growth, discipline, future. A purposeful man feels emotionally alive, and that energy is impossible to fake for long. This is why some men become more attractive over time, not because their face changed, but because their mindset did. Their discipline improved, their confidence deepened, their life gained direction, and direction is magnetic. Hashtag 6. Emotional control is power. One of the rarest qualities in modern men is emotional control, not emotional suppression, not pretending to feel nothing, but the ability to remain emotionally steady under pressure. This trait alone separates weak men from grounded men because life constantly tests emotional stability, disrespect, rejection, silence, uncertainty, conflict. Most men react immediately. They become defensive, angry, needy, emotionally impulsive, and in those moments, they lose power because whoever controls your emotions controls you. A man with emotional control behaves differently. He pauses before reacting. He thinks before speaking. He remains calm when emotions rise. That steadiness creates a powerful presence, especially in relationships, because emotional chaos feels exhausting, but emotional steadiness feels safe. Women naturally notice men who remain grounded during stressful situations, not because they are emotionless, but because they are disciplined. That discipline communicates inner strength, and inner strength is rare. Most people today are emotionally reactive. They let every small event control their mood. But emotionally strong men maintain stability regardless of external circumstances, and that makes them difficult to shake. Another sign of emotional control, not taking everything personally. Most men assume every change in behavior means rejection. If she seems distant, they panic. If she replies slower, they overthink. If plans change, they spiral emotionally. But emotionally intelligent men understand something deeper. People have stress, responsibilities, personal struggles, mood shifts. Not everything revolves around you. And once a man understands that, he becomes calmer, more grounded, more emotionally attractive. Section 7. The man who can walk away has power. This is one of the hardest lessons men ever learn. Power does not belong to the person who chases hardest. Power belongs to the person who is willing to walk away, not out of ego, not out of manipulation, but out of self respect. Many men lose themselves inside relationships. They tolerate disrespect, ignore red flags, lower standards, suppress emotions, all because they fear losing the woman. And slowly, they abandon themselves. That is what desperation does. It makes men betray their own standards to avoid loneliness. But psychologically, when someone feels you will tolerate anything just to keep them, your value decreases. Because self respect creates boundaries, and boundaries create respect. A grounded man does not beg people to stay. He gives effort, he gives honesty, he gives presence, but he never sacrifices his self worth for attention. That energy feels powerful because it communicates abundance, not desperation. The man who can walk away is dangerous in the best possible way because fear no longer controls him. He knows his life will continue moving forward regardless. That mindset changes everything. His conversations become calmer, his behavior becomes more authentic, his confidence becomes more natural because he is no longer terrified of loss. And freedom from fear is one of the most attractive energies a man can possess. Hashtag final conclusion. The truth. Most men never learn. Here is the truth nobody tells men. Attraction is not something you force, it is something people feel, and feelings respond to energy, not performances, not fake confidence, not endless validation seeking. That is why some men chase women for years and still feel invisible, while other men naturally draw people toward them without trying, because one man is seeking approval and the other has built inner stability. This is not about becoming toxic, it is not about manipulating women, it is about mastering yourself, your emotions, your purpose, your confidence, your standards, your discipline. Because when a man becomes emotionally grounded, his entire presence changes. He stops chasing, he stops begging, he stops overperforming. And ironically, that is when people begin noticing him the most. The truth is simple: women are not only attracted to appearance, they are deeply affected by emotional energy, calm energy, grounded energy, purposeful energy, self respecting energy. And once a man develops that naturally, he no longer needs to force attraction because his presence speaks before he does. So instead of obsessing over how to impress people, focus on becoming emotionally strong. Build your life, build your discipline, build your purpose, and watch how differently the world responds to you. Because the strongest men are not the loudest, they are the most grounded. If this video changed the way you see attraction, subscribe and comment below what is one lesson about attraction most men learn too late. Because the conversation most men avoid is often the one they need the most.